This is the LB podcast. I'm here with my brother LSD Plus. How are you doing?
Good. Active, fully active.
All right, let's get straight into it. There were a host of games over the weekend. Game week 1 football is back. We did a preview in the Premier League games that went on over the weekend. Now, I think it is just right that we start with the Manchester United game. And before we go into that, we have done the review on the Liverpool game, so we wouldn't go into the Liverpool game anymore. It's on our channel. You can scroll down and then catch the Liverpool versus Newcastle review there. But straight into the Manchester United game, because I remember you had a lot of faith in Michael Carrick. You said they had the chance to probably push for a second place or push Arsenal for the title. Considering what you saw at Hull City on Saturday afternoon, first of all, how did the game go in your opinion?
I think the game was a very interesting game to watch. First and foremost, because I didn't expect to see what I saw from Hull City in that game. I think I had underrated Hull City quite a lot because I hadn't really watched them. I was only basing my opinions of them off what I've heard about them from other people. But watching them myself, seeing how aggressive they were, how into the fight they got, and I think they can do this to any other team. Let's not make it look as if Manchester United were poor on the day, and that is the only reason why. It is true that they were poor on the day, but I do also think that Hull City made them look the way they looked on the day. They surprised them, I think. They were up to the fight. They brought Man United down to their level so that Man United couldn't play their own game, and they were able to impose themselves on Man U. So I think going away to Hull City for any of the other Premier League teams, Liverpool, Arsenal, if they think it is going to be easy, I think they should rethink, because Hull City are going to make it difficult, especially on their ground. They remind me of Sunderland last season when they came up. Sunderland played very similar way. They defend very deep in their half. They choose when to press. It wasn't entirely sitting back and defending in a low block. In the first half, they were quite high up the field, but they chose areas where they pressed Man U. So they allowed Man U to have the balls in certain non-dangerous areas, but then they sprang out to press them very, very high, and immediately they won the ball. You saw 3-4 players running towards Man United's goal, and that is very difficult to defend for any other team. So I think this doesn't really change my opinion about Manchester United. It is just one game. So I wouldn't say that because they lost this game, they are not going to do well this season. I still think they can challenge for the Premier League title. They probably may not win it, but they will be in and around the position where the teams that are serious about winning it would be. I know a lot of Manchester United fans are not very happy with the signings that they've made. They are crying out for more signings. But I think Baleba is in now. Baleba is in the door now. I think it's confirmed. So given that, maybe that also helps. That is what I'm sort of thinking. But I still think Manchester United will be difficult to beat throughout the entire season. So let's not get too carried away by the first week.
Okay. There were other concerns about selection. Andre Santos is not good enough. He was 4th choice or 5th choice at Chelsea. Now he's a mainstay starting the first Premier League game for Manchester United. Patrick Dogu is not a left winger. He's shoehorning Patrick Dogu in. Do their squad? I mean, you say they will be fine, but squad-wise, is Baleba coming into the door enough for United to push for or challenge Arsenal for the title?
I think the issue about the squad thing, it is something that I've actually thought about today, because I was listening to a podcast, a Liverpool podcast, and they were talking about how inadequate Liverpool squad is, and because of that, we can't challenge for the title. I think sometimes we we sort of overemphasize the importance of having a big squad. It is important to have a big squad, but we shouldn't focus too much on that. I think the advantage Arsenal has over the other teams, Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City, and Liverpool, is mainly the fact that Arteta has been in the club for a very long time. They've been stable for quite some time. The group of players Arteta has there are players who have played the system for a while. They understand exactly what they need to do. And Arteta has done well to drill the team to that level. So Arsenal are not necessarily having a better squad than the other Premier League teams in terms of player for player. That is what I'm referring to. They have some good individual players in there, but if you take their squad as a whole, player for player, I don't think Arsenal have the best squad. They have the depth, which means that if someone comes in from the bench, they know exactly what to do. They fit in seamlessly. You don't see any change. And I think that is credit to the fact that they have that stability. So that is the only thing Arsenal has over the other team. So coming back to your question, Manchester United does not have that same level of squad depth in terms of numbers and also quality. But Manchester United also have individual players who are better than Arsenal, right? I don't think there's any player in the Arsenal team who is better at creating chances and creating assists than Bruno Fernandes. I even don't think there's a player in the Arsenal team who I would pick to play maybe as a number 9 or as a right forward ahead of Brian Mbeumo. I think he's better than all the Arsenal forwards. For me, somebody might think differently. Maybe Kai Havertz might be better for you, or Odegaard might be better for you. But I think Mbeumo is up there. So it is all about the team, the Manchester United team, being consistent. The consistency doesn't necessarily have to come from the fact that you have a big squad or the fact that you have the greatest squad depth, right? So it is down to the manager to be able to get that consistency. Where I see them maybe falling short a bit is the fact that they play in the Champions League as well. So that might put a bit of pressure on their squad. So if that is the argument, then fine. But when it comes to the Premier League, just winning games on a consistent basis, I don't think the squad necessarily is the issue, because we've seen coaches who have been able to tap into academy players, bring them in and out, and try and manage their minutes to supplement the main squad. And I think that is doable. For me, I'm in the school of thought, which says that you don't need the best 22 players in the country to win the league. You don't need to. You need about 12, 13 players who are very solid, and then you can supplement that here and there. Because Jurgen Klopp normally said that. He said that for him to be able to compete with Bayern Munich, what he needs to do is that he needs to be able to train a squad that would be able to match them and bring them to their level so that they play the game at a certain pace and in a certain way that favors his team. So that is the only thing. You don't need a big squad. You don't need the best players in the world. Klopp always used to say it. You don't need the best players in the world to beat the best teams in the world. You don't. So for me, it is all about managing the squad, making sure that players are well motivated, they are consistent, and they can compete on a regular basis.
Okay. Your answers are too long. Else I can't ask many questions.
Okay. I'll keep it short in the subsequent ones.
All right, let's move to Arsenal. And I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on Arsenal. They played Coventry, they won 3-0. They played some decent football. But the question on the Arsenal game is Kai Havertz scored, Solis got an assist in the game as well. We've spoken about their attack a lot in recent seasons, and now Solis has replaced Trossard. They still have Havertz. Gyökeres didn't play the game. Saka was there, Madueke. Considering their attack, I mean, we speak a lot about Arsenal's depth, but are they? Is it due to the fact that looking at the other teams and the quality that they've got, do they still need someone, another attacker in there to be able to win the league, or this will just be enough for them to actually go on and try and win the league again?
Yeah, similar to the point I just made, I think they really don't need an extra striker to be able to win the league. I think with the squad they have, they've done it last season with these players. So there's no reason to think they can't repeat that with the same players. But I think the issue is Champions League. So they want to also compete for the Champions League as well. So for me, that might probably be the reason why they are looking for another striker to come into the building. So with Arsenal too, I think we are getting too carried away. Again, we shouldn't get too carried away with the first game of the season. Arsenal won the game all right. But just like I said for the Manchester United game, let's not get too carried away. Coventry City, I think, made it a bit easy for Arsenal. Coventry City made it a bit easy for them to break them down. Also, let's consider the way the goals came about. I think maybe 2 of the goals Arsenal scored, or even all the 3 goals, came from mistakes by Coventry City. Either a defender made a mistake or the goalkeeper made a mistake. You go back and check. The first goal was caused by a mistake by the defender. He didn't clear his lines early enough. He got closed down. Arsenal won the ball back and they went and scored. The second goal, the goalkeeper should have parried the ball far away from the 18-yard box. He couldn't do that. He parried it into space for Arsenal to tap it in. So let's not get too carried away with the Arsenal performance. They did well. You only have to beat what is ahead of you, and that is what they did. So I think let's be patient with Arsenal and let's not declare them as champions yet. That's what
Okay.
I would say.
I would like to speak about. Let's go to London. Let's go to London and we'll speak about Tottenham Hotspur. But before that, I want us to touch on Chelsea before we go to Roberto De Zerbi's men. I think you watched the game against Fulham. It was 2 former Liverpool players that played, and I even heard a commentator say in the commentary that both Xabi Alonso and Arbeloa, their kids go to the same school in West London. So these are guys.
That's fine.
They both managed Real Madrid last year as well. How did you see that game?
Yeah, I think it was a very interesting game. It was a very, very interesting game. I for one, like I said in the preview about Arbeloa, I think he's a bit underrated. I think he did well, he did decently at Madrid. So I don't know why people think he's going to struggle in the Premier League or Fulham may end up in a relegation battle or something. But I think he's a very good coach. He's a smart guy. He's a very quiet guy, but you can see that he thinks a lot. He thinks about the game a lot. So, but it was an interesting game. Chelsea won the game by also being smart. I think they sort of try to play or put up an away performance that will win them the game. It wasn't about controlling the game with the ball, trying to dominate possession. No, they went in there to get the result, and I think that is what they did. But I also give credit to Fulham for what they showed in the game. I liked the look of Gonzalo Garcia in the game. I think I expect him to get goals in this league because I think he's a very, very good striker. So I like the fact that he was able to get his first goal. But with the 3 back from Alonso, playing that front 3 of Joao Pedro, Cole Palmer, and Rogers, I think that is a very good front 3. They are going to cause problems for a lot of teams in this league.
Okay. The 3-back system that he played, watching the game, I mean, I tweeted that I think it was the most exciting game I've watched in game week 1 in the Premier League. I didn't get to watch all the games. Brighton versus Aston Villa was a good game, but I felt that was a bit one-sided. So it was an entertaining game. But I think how Fulham approached the game, even after conceding the first goal early on, how they came back into the game, exploiting that half space down Chelsea's right hand side. I think Chelsea will need to work on the long ball, the diagonal long balls that it seemed like it was very difficult for them to deal with that with Levi Colwill. Max Accra had a good game. Who do you think who was the best performing player in the game? Cole Palmer got on the score sheet as well. Rogers, the new players that played. Who impressed you the most?
My player of the game would go to a Fulham player. I think he's called Josh King. Josh King, the guy who got the first goal for Fulham. Yeah, I think I'll give that guy my player of the game. I think he was everywhere. First half, second half, even in the second half, he had an opportunity to get another goal. I think he had the ball on the left hand side. He cut inside and tried to go for the near post, and he missed it. But I think he was very good on the day. On Chelsea's side, I would probably go for who would I go for Chelsea? I think Chelsea, it was more of a team performance. You see, they were trying to sit in and suffer together. They were playing as a team, so you didn't really see anyone really stand out. There were moments where you saw Cole Palmer really shine, where he got the goal and the assist. But I don't think for prolonged spells of the game, any Chelsea player really stood out. So I'll go for Josh King for Fulham.
Okay, last question on Chelsea, then we go to Tottenham Hotspur. If you are Xabi Alonso, do you keep or you sell Enzo Fernandez? Considering that you'll be selling him to a rival in Manchester City.
Yeah, I think any manager who has Enzo Fernandez should fight tooth and nail to keep him. I really don't see the reason why you should be okay with a player like Enzo Fernandez leaving your team. Even if you don't think he's going to be a starter, even if you think he's going to come from the bench, I think he's a very, very underrated midfielder. He's a very good midfielder. For me, I like midfielders who battle, midfielders who don't make it easy for the opponent. They are going to hunt you down. They are going to try and make things rough for you. They are not nice guys. I don't like nice guys as midfielders. So I think Xabi Alonso should be keeping him. I really don't understand why anybody would think selling Enzo Fernandez is a good idea, unless maybe the player has made it clear that he wants to leave. And I think that is the case right now. He wants to leave. So usually when players want to leave, I don't support the idea of forcing them to stay, like what is happening with Atletico Madrid and Julian Alvarez. I think if the player begins to behave in a certain way, I think it is best to sell the player, take the money, and let him go. But if there's nobody willing to pay the money to you, can't reduce the price because the player wants to go. You need to get your money's worth. So I think that is what Chelsea are going to do.
All right. Let's move to Tottenham Hotspur versus Brentford. Remember last year when we were doing our award show, I said the Brentford manager was my manager of the season, and he started like a house on fire. And maybe we should have seen it coming. Tottenham Hotspur is a side that has finished 17th in back-to-back seasons. Brentford are a more settled side. They are Premier League side that, and they had a very good year under Keith last year. They didn't qualify for Europe on goal difference. That is how close they were to qualifying for Europe after many people tipping them to go down. I said that Roberto De Zerbi, for me, is an overrated manager. I think people put him in categories where I don't think he belongs. He played decent, not decent. He played great football at Brighton at points, but I always felt he hasn't reached the stage where I think some people put him, and he lost the game by 3-0. What can we expect from Roberto De Zerbi? Can he? Is it just a case of the same old Brighton performance that we saw, struggle against small opponents? When he meets the bigger guys, then he's able to get results against them.
Yeah, I think it is going to be the same old Roberto De Zerbi. Nothing is going to massively change from the way we've seen his teams play and things pan out for his teams. over the years. So it is going to be the same Roberto De Zerbi. He's going to do well against the big teams. He's going to really cause problems for the big six, the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United. He's going to pose a threat to them. But when he meets his fellows or the teams below him, he's going to struggle a bit because those teams they won't come and try and press you. So what I saw in the Brentford game was that Brentford made the game completely a physical battle. It was a physical battle. There was nothing tactical about the game. Or let me not say nothing tactical, but I would say it was less about tactics than it was about being physical and trying to make the game scruffy. That is all they did. So they weren't trying to press Tottenham Hotspur all the time or any time they got the ball. They choose their moments to press, and when they got the ball, they were extremely direct. On top of that, I think that the lineup that De Zerbi started with was absolutely atrocious. I really don't understand why Matisse Tell is still starting a game in the Premier League. I
Yeah.
actually don't understand why they bought the guy in the first place. You have, I think Begva was also starting in this game. I don't know what exactly is going on, but upon all the signings they made, their starting lineup, when I saw it, I knew there was going to be trouble for Deserve.
Yeah, I don't know the continued persistence with playing Begva. Igor Tudor played him, Thomas Frank played him, but I watch him consistently, and I'm not seeing it. I don't see what exactly he is. Now you play Begva, you
Yeah, I
play.
think he's a good player. He's an average player, but for Tottenham to be able to kick on and get something, they need better than that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sangari tore their midfield to shreds single-handedly, just £41 million, and he showed Tonali how we do it in the Premier League. Even though Tonali is supposed to be the guy that is supposed to actually show Sangari that you are coming from the French Liga. I am the main guy here. I'll show you what I got. But we saw it the other way around. All right. Tottenham Hotspur, where do you think realistically they would finish this season in the Premier League, considering what you just said so far?
Yeah, I think top half finish would be a decent season for them,
Okay,
first to
so
10.
if
So
they finish ninth, is that a good season?
yeah, I think ninth would be an absolutely excellent season for Tottenham, considering that last season they finished in 17th. For me, I think their situation is quite more dire than they think. Yeah, say that again.
Yeah, they brought in £100 million midfielder, 80 million, 60 million defender. Uh, they brought in Savinho for around 80 million pound. Mamouche is in on loan. Considering all these signings, you still think if they come ninth, and it's not just a good season, it's an excellent season for Spurs.
Yes, I think it's an excellent season. Don't forget that when you bring in that number of players in one transfer window like this, you need time to gel. And if the Brentford game is anything to go by, you could see that Tottenham Hotspur were completely disjointed. They didn't have any cohesion going forward or defending. So in both phases of the game, attacking and defending, the cohesion wasn't there. The teamwork wasn't there. Individually, the players were there. They can do stuff on their own and try and influence the game. But you could see that Brentford were absolutely coherent. They knew exactly what they were doing. They all were on the same page. So I think that is what is going to affect Tottenham Hotspur this season. But moving forward, for me, I think the signings they did is not only for this season, it is for the next 4 to 5 years. That is what they are trying to build towards. So let's give the squad time for them to be able to get back to where they were under Pochettino. I think they need about 2, 3 seasons to be able to get back to that. But for this particular season, I think a top half finish would be okay for them.
Yeah, I agree to a degree. I don't think if they finish ninth, it's an excellent season, but I do think it will be a good season for them if they finish top half. Um, I think if they do finish in an European spot, even a Conference League, then I would say it is a very, very good season for Roberto De Zerbi and Spain. Now, let's finish with the the side, the citizen, the other side of Manchester, the blue side of Manchester, Enzo Maresca. We saw him against Marco Rose's Bournemouth. These are two new managers coming into the job. Marco Rose, a similar style to Andoni Raiola, so we were intrigued to see how he would approach the game. Remember, Bournemouth side is a side that is high on momentum from last year. They have the highest unbeaten run in Europe at this moment in time, but they fell to the sword at the last minute. Ryan Cherky with a brilliant pass for Josko Vardio for the 2-1. But there were instances in the game, some changes tactically, personal change that was a bit unusual that we saw. Magehi playing as a number 6. We saw Nico Riley in the 10th, Phil Foden on the right. What was the understanding behind all those changes in midfield from Maresca? Let me get your 2 cents on that game.
Yeah, I think for that particular game, I was quite disappointed with both coaches, to be honest. Both Marco Rosa and Enzo Maresca. They, especially Enzo Maresca. Enzo Maresca has actually been a big disappointment since the FA Community Shield game. He's been a massive disappointment to me. In this particular game as well, he was massively disappointing, both with his starting lineup and his changes. I think he got away with it. He got away. He stole the win. And that is why I'm disappointed in Marco Rosa for allowing that to happen. The best result should have been a draw in this game because I think Bournemouth did enough. But in the end, Marco Rosa and his boys couldn't hold on. When it comes to Enzo Maresca, I think he sometimes tries to reinvent the wheel unnecessarily because this City team already has the template. Why are you trying to change it? So the only players who left from last season is Bernardo Silva and Rodri. So all you need to do is put the right players in the spaces where these players used to play. That's it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. But I think Enzo Maresca is trying to change too much. And for me, that is what he does in teams. So I'm not going to say it's not going to go well, but I think it's going to take a while. Because he's trying to change a whole lot of things, it's going to take a while. Ayu Boadi is coming in. Maybe that is going to help a bit. So we'll leave to see. But this is Enzo Maresca for you. He's an idealistic coach. He's very stubborn. He tries to do things his own way. He doesn't listen. So this is what City fans should expect.
Yeah. Well, his father is Pep Guardiola. It is not a surprise that he tries to change things even when there's no need to change them. But I'm curious. Even though they've lost the key players that they've lost are Bernardo Silva and Rodri. But it looks to me as if they are selling all their players. Savinho's left. Marmoush is out the door as well. In their attack, if Foden, if you count him as part of the attackers, he is one. There's Semenyo, there's Haaland, there's Doku. There's not much else. Are they a bit thing on squad depth to be able to compete?
Yes, I think they are playing a very dangerous game, very similar to what Liverpool are doing with flirting with Tottenham Hotspur to sell Gakpo. I think it's a very big mistake that Liverpool are doing. The same thing applies to City for selling Savinho and potentially loaning Marmoush. I think that is a very dangerous move because you need these players who have already been in the Premier League. So who are you going to replace them with? Are you going to buy a Premier League caliber player to replace them with? Or you are going to promote academy guys to come and take their place? Because I really don't see anyone else on the bench who can fill in for Savinho and Marmoush. I really don't see it. So maybe they are thinking of bringing in new players. They have something up their sleeve that we don't know of. But I think it's quite a dangerous move from Enzo Maresca and Man City.
Well, reports also say it's not just Tottenham Hotspur. Manchester City are also interested in Cody Gakpo. Manchester City have a firm interest on Cody Gakpo. They have made an approach to Cody Gakpo. So we'll see how that goes. For me, Liverpool shouldn't be thinking about selling players right now. Should get bodies in the door. I am not one of those that are strictly do not sell for the Gakpo, but for the context of where we are now, the players we have, and the lack of bodies that we have in our attack, but selling Gakpo should be the last thing that we should be thinking of. If someone tables a £120 million, I'm taking it. But before I take it, I'll make sure I bring someone in the door first before I take that amount of money. But last question on Manchester City, then we end the video. Phil Foden won the Player of the Year 3 seasons ago. Now, he started the competition final in the 10. Ryan Cherky was benched. Ryan Cherky came on against Bournemouth. He was there. We provided 2 assists, the corner kick, and a brilliant pass. I saw what he did for the pass to Josko Vardiol. He actually saw that Vardiol was offside, waited, took another touch, waited for Vardiol to come back onside before he slipped in through. Brilliant football IQ from Ryan Cherky. Can Phil Foden get back to his best level under Enzo Maresca?
I think that is possible. It looks like that is what Enzo Maresca is aiming for. He's forcing something out of Foden. Even look at Grealish. Look at Jack Grealish. When was the last time Jack Grealish kicked the ball? But he was in the FA Cup Community Shield game. And I think Enzo Maresca has a thing for Jack Grealish. He also has a thing for Foden. I don't know exactly what, but he seems to know Foden from his days at Man City. So he believes and he thinks he knows what Foden can give him. So he wants to force himself to bring it out of him. So we live to see. That is what Enzo Maresca does. That is what Enzo Maresca likes to do. He likes to try and revive players and try and do something new that nobody really expects. So we'll see. But for me, I think it is too much of a risk. Now the Premier League is such that if you don't start well, if you are not in and around the position where you can compete, it is going to run away from you. And that is the risk that he runs by trying to do this experiment with Phil Foden.
Well, thank you. This is how we wrap up on the Premier League review. We've touched on all the teams. Subsequently, I think we will try and talk about some of the other teams as well. Aston Villa were battered 4-0 by Brighton. Nottingham Forest also lost to Leeds. Coventry, some of the promoted teams. Who impressed you the most? I think we will have to do another. But thank you, guys.
Ipswich United, Gary O'Neill.
United, and they play Manchester.
I really like Gary O'Neill's first win in the league.
Yes, they will play United next, so that will be a fascinating one to watch. We'll bring you a preview on that as well.
Yeah.
You guys for watching. Keep on subscribing to the channel. This is the Liverpool Brothers Podcast. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.